On today's video, we're going to be taking a look at what I believe is the biggest comic book in my collection. So here is your last chance to make your guess, because after our title sequence, we're going to be jumping right in. Stay tuned. Greetings everyone, my name is Dominic and today you're tuning in to the Comic Book Report, where we review comic books and graphic novels so you can get an idea of what to read. And as I mentioned at the top of the video, we're looking at the largest comic in my collection today, and as you can see, of course we're talking about the monster-sized Hellboy from Dark Horse Comics. And for full disclosure, I am still making my way through the 1,512 pages of this massive tome. But while I continue to finish it up, I thought it would still be fun to do a quick overview of this book, and honestly, I thought it was fun to just talk about the biggest book in my collection. Now, I might have an omnibus that has a higher page count, but I certainly don't have a book that is quite this large. And rest assured, we are going to do some size comparisons with some other formats so you can get a sense of scale. Now, I'd like to say a huge thank you to Dark Horse for providing this copy. I'm really enjoying reading through it and I can't wait to provide my review. And if you're looking to pick up your own copy or perhaps other collected editions, I highly encourage you to check out our channel sponsor, organicpricebooks.com. You can find a link for it in the video's description, and if you see anything on their website you like, you can use my discount code at checkout, TheComicBookReport, to save $2 off of your order. Please note if you use my affiliate link or code to make a purchase, I will earn a small commission, but it's a fantastic way to support the channel. Thank you for considering. Now let's get started with today's overview. Okay, first let's just examine the front cover of this hardcover one final time. I will say for this hardcover there is no dust jacket or slipcase, it is just this one massive hardcover, and I do believe this is a new piece of art from Mike Mignola on the front here. Mike Mignola is one of the primary creators of Hellboy, and he definitely contributes a majority of the content we have here, although there are some others as well. The spine of this massive book is one of my favorites. We have a field of black with monster-sized Hellboy, a little head of Hellboy there, Mike Mignola and others, and of course the Dark Horse logo. I really like this. I like that they didn't go too complicated with the spine. It looks really striking all on its own, and honestly I have no complaints here. Really solid, crisp design. The back of the hardcover is really just that same image from the front, just black and white with all the text stripped away. It's also a really good way to just look at the pencil work for this amazing work. And then we have kind of the pricing, ISBN number, things like that on the back. But that's really all we have for the back cover. I do think that there was a piece of paper that came along with this when I unwrapped it. But yeah, on the actual book itself, we don't have any other details. Now, I did want to show a quick look at the binding, because in some ways this is easily what I am most impressed by with this collection, other than the sheer size of it. It is a sewn binding, and I'm happy to say it lays down fairly flat. Gutter loss has been absolutely not a problem for me. I'm really impressed by it. We have a massive eye on this book, and so far the binding feels really sturdy. I should also note, as you see, we do have a sewn ribbon that can be used as a bookmark. It's been really handy, and I really like that they had that on this collection. And as promised, here are some size comparisons for you. On the left, I do have a standard size hardcover in the form of Helen of Windhorn, another recent Dark Horse release. And on the right of Hellboy, I have the Daredevil by Ann Nocenti Omnibus Volume 1 from Marvel Comics, which is our oversized omnibus format size. So you can see just from these comparisons just how massive this Hellboy book is. Again, easily just the biggest book in my collection, and it feels gigantic. You'll see when I open it up as well, it's just vibrant, amazing, and yeah, the art is massive. I'm going to do one more quick comparison shot looking at the spines, again just so you can see how much larger the trim size is for this monster-sized edition. And with that, we can go ahead and wrap up the comparison shots and begin to dive into the monster-sized Hellboy itself. Okay, and opening up the monster-sized Hellboy, we are treated after the end pages to a title page, publication information page, and then we basically have a page-numbered table of contents, which I'm always happy to see on modern collections, and this is a great way to index your favorite storylines. After that, we go into Chapter 1 of the first Hellboy story arc here, and we're off to the races. I should note, while we have a lot of these great title and chapter breaks throughout this collection, we don't have the proper comic issue covers. I wasn't really too bothered by that. Of course, I would have loved to see them, or perhaps have them as part of a variant cover art or cover art gallery at the back of the collection. So alas, that was not as much the case here, but I am still happy that we got punctuated by these chapter and story breaks. I will note as well, we don't have a ton by way of extras in this collection. There is a brief afterword at the very, very back, but that is really all we have by way of extras. As far as what this collects, my understanding is that this collects all of the major Hellboy main story arcs. Now, this edition does not include the short story collections, which I believe Dark Horse has released in 2 paperback collections, but it does contain everything that is in the 4-volume paperback omnibus set. You can buy that as a box set or the individual paperback omnibuses, or you can get them sandwiched all together and blown up in this incredible monster-sized edition. I know Hellboy as well has library editions that kind of interweave some of those short stories, so there are several ways to collect Hellboy. This to me might be my preference. Yes, it's big, maybe sometimes it's a little bulky to comfortably read, but if I settle in just right, this book has been such a treat. So what can I say about Hellboy? Again, for this video, it's more of an overview, just showcasing this gigantic book. I will do a full review after I complete this read, so stay tuned in the coming weeks and months on the channel if you're interested. I'm about halfway through right now. You probably saw my bookmark. I'm still really enjoying it. I read it every few nights, so that review is coming. For today, though, I'll go really light on spoilers where I can. I will try to flip through in a way that I don't reveal too much, although there might be some just visually as I'm flipping through. But essentially, Hellboy is the story of a kind of half-demon creature that seemed to have been summoned after a weird ritual gone wrong in like the World War II era by this kind of Nazi occultist. He finds his way into the care of this man who ultimately helps create this agency that protects the world from paranormal happenings, and they do different research work, things like that. It's known as the BPRD. Anyway, this creature named Hellboy is raised in this environment, and he kind of becomes an agent for this organization, and he stops all sorts of bad and terrifying things around the world, along with some of his colleagues. As we progress in the storyline of Hellboy, though, he does break away from that organization and try to get more into kind of the roots of where he came from, who he is, what his purpose is. We go into some interesting kind of existential sort of storylines. But yeah, there's a lot of rich storytelling in Hellboy. Of course, the visual aesthetic, often by Mike Mignola, is one of the most iconic facets of this franchise, and with good reason. It's such evocative imagery. I think the stylization that Mignola always has, it's just captivating, and I think it really suits this subject matter in particular just quite well. On a bit of a personal note, I'll say before getting this edition, my knowledge of Hellboy began and ended pretty much with the 2 Guillermo del Toro, Ron Perlman films. I watched those in my teenage years, roughly. I remember really liking them quite a bit, but that was really where all my knowledge of this franchise came from. I was always sort of curious about the contents of the actual comics, source material themselves. I was a bit on edge about the kind of darkness about the series, but I will say it doesn't feel as grimdark, horrific as I was worried it would, and I think a lot of that is due to Hellboy as a character, just his general demeanor. He really is kind of deadpan and smug and just kind of brushes things off. Like when things get mystical and dark around him, his response is often like, ah crap, or this is something I have to go deal with. And he's so nonchalant about it that it really diffuses a lot of the straight horror areas that could really be creepy. You still get enough of that ambiance and kind of the themes and motifs and all of that, and the visuals, of course, from Mignola are atmospheric and interesting, but I think Hellboy himself really undercuts this in a way that it's not a hard horror title, at least in my reading. It feels like more like a dark fantasy action title, and I really like that. Honestly, I think that was a really fantastic way to approach this series. It made it more accessible to me and my flavors of reading preferences, I'd say. But yeah, so far it has been quite fun. I'm interested to see what the back half of these stories will feel like. Again, I'm going in pretty blind. Like, I don't know which direction this series is going to take, but I am looking forward to reflecting on it once I get to that review I've mentioned before. But as you can see as I flip through, we just have a massive look at the art here. I loved seeing the art here from Mignola in this gigantic proportions and ratios. I just think it is a really great way to experience this work if, like me, you're just enjoying it for the first time, or maybe if you have smaller paperback editions or something, it could be worth the upgrade. I've seen people express online that they're bummed that they didn't see more short stories or extras in this collection. I don't know if Dark Horse is going to give us another big edition collecting all the short stories, but I think after I finish this, if I enjoy it enough, I might try to look into those paperback short story collections to round out some of the Hellboy storytelling. I'm also curious about one of the spin-off series of this, the BPRD. That one is definitely of interest to me as well. If you've read any of these titles or anything else in the Mignola verse, I would love to hear your feedback and comments, just because I am getting more into this franchise, and again, so far this title has been really enjoyable. It would honestly be so easy to keep talking about this franchise, but I do think I'm going to leave some for a future review. I think at this point I've already showcased enough about the build of the book and the book itself, given a bit of a primer about what you can expect from this series, and I hope you've enjoyed it as an overview. Like I said, I will be reviewing this title upon completion, hopefully in the next couple weeks. At any rate, this has been our overview of the monster-sized Hellboy, which again is probably the biggest comic in my collection. Let me know what you think of the Hellboy universe, the Hellboy title, this monster-sized edition, or even this overview. I'd love to get some comments and discussions going, and until next time, this has been the Comic Book Report. Please don't forget to leave your like, that comment we talked about, and maybe check out another one of my videos on your way out. Thanks, bye.